Mics are going up now.
A very good morning to you, Lagos, and thank you for joining us for Freshly Pressed 981. It is a part of Smooth Breakfast with Ayo.
Valentine.
And this morning inside of Freshly Pressed 981, we have joining us in the studio for the analysis of these stories. We have Cheta Nwaeze at Cheta. Good morning. Good morning, Cheta. And good morning to you, Ikemesit Effiong.
Good morning.
You can find him up on Twitter as at Judge Ike. At Judge Ike, I got that right. And of course, we have Justin Ijeh joining us this morning. Hi, Justin.
Morning, Lagos.
His Twitter handle is the same as his name, at Justin Ijeh. Lagos, send us messages through WhatsApp.
You can send your messages to 0809 444 0981. On Twitter, we're live at Smooth981FM. Use the hashtag FreshlyPressed981. We're also live on YouTube, so go on there /Smooth981FM.
We'll start with a story from Punch newspaper, and this story is for you, Ikemesit. The Independent National Electoral Commission has okayed the resumption of political campaign activities ahead of Saturday's rescheduled elections. We know that before now they had put a halt to electionary campaigns on the wake of the postponement, and we've had reactions from different parties involved. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so it's something. So this is something that the parties are called for in the wake of the postponement. Was actually one of the first things that they had mentioned at the time. I think the opposition pushed for it strenuously. The ruling APC was a bit ambivalent about it, but when you look at it on the surface of things, it does make sense. The postponement had essentially served to operators and irretrievably bring down the momentum of the political parties, essentially, as it were. When you have a situation where in the lead up to Saturday, there was still campaigns up until the later parts of last week. It makes sense that it added a couple of days to the entire electoral process, which gave the parties the time to do that. Whether they would have enough time to mobilize resources, because they essentially have just 48 hours operatively, is another matter.
I mean, most of them already produced materials, already have materials that have been recirculated. Some others had enough time to produce materials, so it's just about pushing these materials to the media stations.
And then again, I think it's a side conversation to this, and this is probably something that I don't know if the folks at INEC have really avaired their minds to, is the rise of the rise of digital political campaigning, as it were. So on Saturday, I do recall, because I'm a bit of a YouTube addict, so I do recall in between YouTube videos still seeing a lot of political messaging in terms of political ads and banners also on various blogs and websites. So did the campaigning ever really stop?
Yes, right. And then there's the question of regulations that might be extended to those platforms as well. But the campaign now, the extension that is, ends midnight of Thursday, 21st February 2019.
Yeah, indeed. So
finance, guys.
Yeah,
so it's a bit. Sorry, can I say that?
Yeah, sure.
On this one quickly. It's a bit. I think it's a bit of a privilege for the two big parties to be gung ho about extended campaigning. But I think about the smaller parties where you find them struggling to find sources of funding to extend their campaigns. I've heard some of the younger candidates in the smaller parties make comments alluding to the fact that, look, this extension kicks us where it hurts really bad. Yeah. So I think it's a bit privileged for the big parties to actually come out and say things like, oh, even if INEC is not saying it, we are going ahead on our own without INEC. Even before INEC did come out to formally state that campaigns have been extended. Bottom line, this speaks to we need to reform our campaign finance laws.
Okay, let's move on now to Premium Times report here. Nigerian Army speaks on Buhari's death threats against ballot snatchers. So we saw that video, most of us did, where the president's, at the campaign rally, the president Muhammad Buhari on Monday afternoon actually ordered security forces to be ruthless against anyone caught snatching ballot boxes after citizens had voted. Many are regarding this as a threat to democracy, a threat to human life, people are saying it's too blunt for a president and a statesman to say or to be quoted as saying. But what are your thoughts on this, Cheta?
I mean, I would go against the grain. And go against the grain doesn't mean endorsing what's very said. I disagree with it entirely. I just want to point out some stuff because this story here is about the army saying that we will obey the orders. The Geneva Convention, to which Nigeria is a signatory, says that you should not obey legal orders. And the Electoral Act is very clear that there should be no armed security operatives within 300 meters, I think, of any polling units. That's one. Number two, the Electoral Act in itself is also very clear, sections 118 and 129, that ballot box snatching gets 2 years in prison.
Yes.
I think that's one is a bit tame. I think it should be 10 years to serve as a proper deterrent. But that's all besides the point. The point is the sentence for snatching ballot boxes cannot possibly be death. Even in China and Indonesia, where they have very severe laws, it's imprisonment as a penalty for ballot box snatching. Not arbitrarily shooting them extrajudicially on the spot. Second thing I want to point out is that the data shows that ballot box snatching has been on the decline in Nigeria since the Justice Uwe's reforms following the rather fruity 2007 elections. The 2007 elections were so bad such that no serious person uses them in any data analysis, but the ballot box snatching aspect of it is always used. That was the height of it. There were 140 recorded incidents of electoral fraud in the last 2015 elections. That's important to note. Electoral fraud includes ballot box snatching.
According to what source?
INEC incident reports, and then what eventually went to court. Now, there were 140. Just taking the number 140 alone makes it look like much. But then when you consider that there are in 2015 there were 119,974 polling units, so which means that 140 is 0.1% of that. It tells you how minuscule this problem has become. So trying to raise that specter like it's something that can affect the outcome of the election, and then ordering the military or the armed services to shoot people because of that, especially coming the day after we saw also that video of the customs guy shooting somebody. It's a whole lot of problems.
But then what do you say? What's your reaction to the lawyers' arguments? Because a few lawyers in this report were captured, as saying that it really speaks to the kind of allusion that's made in the Constitution, citing Chapter 4, Section 33, that speaks to right to life. We know then it speaks to cases of mutiny at some instances that can be excused.
Can I come in?
Yes, please. Just
So you see, leadership. Let me not even talk about leadership. Let me simply talk about civil society, civilization. Right? Human society is held together by a very thin glue. That glue is consequence. Right? The bedrock of human society. What limits your freedom within the context of a community is consequence. You know that if you go against the commonly accepted rules, which we call the law, there will be consequence. My thesis is that the imperative of consequence is dead in Nigeria. Everybody gets away with everything. That customs guy is going to get away. Bring it back into the context.
We haven't seen the end to that.
Bring it back into the context. There's enough history for me to extrapolate. But let me come back to the context of Mr. President's speech.
Yes.
Let me quickly give you a few words that are synonyms for ruthless. The word that he used. Barbarous, brutal, callous, cold-blooded, cruel, cutthroat, ferocious, fierce, harsh, inhuman, malevolent, merciless, rancorous, relentless, sadistic.
Okay, so
we
we
get
get
the
the point.
You get the point?
Yes.
Okay, so
So
let me elucidate on that point.
Now,
The import of this is leadership is a high calling. Some things must never be said.
Right.
The optics matter.
Right.
The optics matter. He should not have used those words. It will be misconstrued. It has been misconstrued. In fact, people are defending it and people are arguing to justify it. But it is never right for the leader of a country to make that kind of statement.
Could-
You are
could you-
undermining
could
law
you-
and order.
Okay, could you, Justin, be, I hear you very clearly, but could you be making a solution, so based on the concerns that are raised that it could be abused by security operatives for its black and gold?
I can issue a bank guarantee to that effect, that it will be abused.
All right, let's move on. Thank you very much, Cheta and Justin, for that analysis of the story. Let's move on to this next one, Justin, and it's for you from the Guardian newspaper. PENCOM gives insurance compliance submission deadline, and this is affecting not just public offices, but also private establishments. They're saying that they've given them till March 31st to ensure that life insurance, amongst other insurance policies, are covered, and given some leeway for insurance certificates as well. Your thoughts on this, please?
Well, this is a call for compliance by PENCOM. The pension laws are clear. All employers of labor above, when you have employees above the number of 5, they're supposed to have a life insurance policy, and evidence of that is supposed to be tendered to the commission, right? And PENCOM is calling on employers of labor who have not complied to please ensure that they do so, and that they must cover employees up to an amount not less than 3 times their respective annual total emolument. So if you earn 5,000 naira, for instance, just to use simple numbers, you should have a cover that covers you up to 20,000 naira. Okay. Yeah. So it's more or less a public service announcement by PENCOM.
Thank you for that, Justin. Let's go to your messages now on WhatsApp. Diale from Ijeh says, if you plan to steal ballot boxes, then you must pay the screen price. However, there should be nothing to fear if you're not nursing that plan. And he mentions you, Cheta, says you should be responsible today and not of the politicians. Very interesting. Cheta is a very responsible human being, I'll tell you that for a fact. Tony Okbara says, good morning, crew. Nothing justifies the president's directive on killing ballot boxes, the snatchers, he said. It's nothing but extra. No, it hasn't gone to that yet. Tunde sent in a lengthy message.
He says many have accused the president of planning to rig himself back into power. Now the man has come out hard against election rigging and will crying foul and condemning PMB. Election rigging, either through snatching of ballot boxes or in whatever form, leads to an uncountable number of deaths. When bad politicians get into power, the loot of the treasury while abandoning development. We all know that it's difficult to prove an election has been rigged and therefore get justice at the tribunal. At least the president didn't isolate ballot box snatchers from any political party. We just like to find fault all the time in this country.
Send an executive bill to the National Assembly to amend the law prescribing the punishment for ballot box snatching, Mr. President.
Let's keep it moving now to Guinea Telegraph. Nimasa paid me 138.5 million naira for doing nothing, and that's according to a witness. The witness happens to be the Assistant Director of Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Engineer Frederick Ugo. Yesterday, he told Justice Ayo Faji of the Federal High Court in Lagos that the said sum was paid into his company's account in 2014 by the agency without executing any contract. And he told us how. Your thoughts, Justin?
Yeah, this story reads like a Robert Ludlum novel.
Yes.
I miss those. It's typical Jason Bourne kind of thing. So the gentleman is confessing to the court how his company accounts, which he at different times refers to as his account, and then at other times refers to as belonging to Engineer Jolly's account, was used to siphon monies out of the accounts of Nimasa up to the tune of 138 million naira. He told the court in no uncertain terms that he did no work for. So ostensibly he was giving these monies because by the Committee on Intelligence in Nimasa, and the guy said, listen, my company never did any intelligence work. We were not registered to do intelligence work, but we collected the money, we paid it through my account, and I gave them the account number through my director, Captain Waredi Enisu. I gave it to him. Very, I don't know.
And it's on the heels of the investigation, really, being carried out on Nimasa and the funds that were being siphoned in that period in time.
So you begin to wonder why cases like this drag, right? This matter has been in the court for upwards of 2-3 years, and the fact that this kind of statements are what's coming out instead of telling us somebody has been sentenced is what irks. Like I said, the imperative of consequence is gone. We're going to go through this charade until the administration changes and these guys are going to walk scot.
But at least it's comforting to see that details are emerging now. We see, certain parties being named and
It's not
we can.
comforting.
That
Comforting
is
will be jail.
okay.
But
Eventually.
jail only comes when there's diligent prosecution. I have zero confidence in the abilities of EFCC to successfully prosecute.
But we would follow the story very closely too. Yeah.
All right, moving away from that, let's go on to our next story. This one is on election matters. INEC has promised to improve core members' welfare. We actually touched on this yesterday during Lagos Talks 981, where we talked about the pictures that had gone viral over the weekend. Apart from the postponement, was the treatment of National Youth Service core members. Now, speaking in a statement, the Director of Press and Public Relations has said that we're going to look into this matter. Mrs. Adenike Adeyemi mentioned. Cheta, what's your take on this? Is that an early morning yawn?
Yeah.
That's the summary of my take.
All right, now can you? So with regards, is it that you don't believe that they would actually do this,
They
or
will not.
why do you say
We
that?
don't care about our people. I mean,
That's a heavy statement.
it's the fact. We care more about foreigners or appearances than our people. Since this whole thing, there have been protests by NYSC members who are serving as INEC ad hoc staff. Abia, Bauchi, Borno, Kwara, Lagos, Ondo, and Rivers States. That should be enough to send real alarm bells ringing, not issuing statements like this. But to elucidate on how we don't care about our people, let me give an example. My wife was one of the journalists at the INEC headquarters on the day of the postponement and the aftermath, and they kept them there till 2:45 a.m. without saying a word to them. Accreditation was a mess, and then they now told them, okay, we will hold a stakeholder meeting / press conference by 2 p.m. on that 16th February. By 2 p.m. on 16th February, they started a meeting, but not with the people that they said. Instead, it was with foreign observers. And then they held that meeting with foreign observers till 3:30 before they now came to start talking at our people. It shows you the mindset. As in, to the average Nigerian elite, the average Nigerian person is just a beast of burden to be used, and it seeps true. I have zero confidence that we will not have INEC ad hoc staff protesting and complaining on such.
Well, we have only a few more days to clarify that. Unfortunately, we cannot dwell on this story, but just to say that the chief press secretary to the chairman of INEC had actually said that they provided material, so they're a bit confused as to how. So that's another angle to look at it. That's one saying that INEC didn't do anything, whilst they're coming out to say they actually provided, resources, mattresses, mats, pillows, and someone must have.
The real definition of care is when, if a budget is provided, you follow up to make sure that it is utilized.
Well, this is
properly.
what they said they're going to do now, following the report. But we'll keep our eye on it.
We
have only a few more days.
The budget was slashed. They were largely underfunded. So the question of the money being enough is another thing to consider.
Yeah. Well, they will be investigating this, and by Saturday we'll see if there'll be any improvements. Please, we'd like to get your reports as well for core members out on the field. Moving on to our next story, Ikemesit Atiku counters Buhari's suit, seeks 2 billion naira damages. Like Justin mentioned, this reads out like a book. The president and his campaign organization had sued Atiku and another defendant, saying that they had on a libel case. And now Atiku has come back to say, actually, I'm going to sue you back for wasting our time and a frivolous suit. What's your take on this, Ikemesit?
It's just the classic political horse trading, right? So, like you said, so why did Buhari sue Buhari and Buhari campaign organization sue Atiku in the first place? Now, according to them, the Atiku camp were responsible for making what they consider to be defamatory statements in international press, alleging that the president used his position in Asura to fraudulently acquire majority shareholding in the two private companies, one a major bank, one a major telecommunications firm, for himself and his family members, and it's a story that went on and on. It circulated quite a while. We talked about it here on Fresh Press. It had been a big deal since, at least since the second week of January. So the president sued Atiku, and then Atiku has now filed a suit, essentially calling it frivolous, a waste of time in the courts, and his defense counsel in their defense to the original suits before they filed this counter suits. I'm sorry, because it sounds a bit
so many suits going on.
Yeah, there's suits are in the air. What the PDP candidates council is essentially saying that the alleged libelous statements were mere dispassionate, is a direct quote, dispassionate expressions of opinions based on true facts, as it were. So there's really not much substance to this. Once we get out of the election season, there's a winner, things move on, all of these things will die down, they'll probably get out of the courts, and all of that. But then it is worth noting that we are in a democracy, and in a democracy, like Justin has established and as Cheta has also alluded to, the optics matter, right? They might seem like very white tails and just careless political rumors, but it helps to just check, just to be sure that there isn't more to it than it's
Agoba Sam on WhatsApp says INEC extends time for campaigns. Wow. It should also extend the time for PVC collections, and that would be fair. Wengus says suddenly ballot box snatchers, their sponsors and tacit supporters have become jittery over the statements of the president. Anybody who decides to be stupid enough to allow himself to be used by desperate politicians to cause mayhem during elections should be ready to pay the price. We are in a desperate situation in this country. It requires desperate measures to tackle, Wengus says. And then Austin Formal too said PMB is right, while the other party, the opposition, is encouraging rigging, he said. And then Agele, that's Adebowale Arojo from Ajegunle, actually says that the president's admission that he has given security agencies the charge to deal ruthlessly with ballot box snatchers is quite suspicious, especially when one considers the lopsidedness of the anti-corruption agencies on the fight against corruption. We're all aware of how these agencies treat cases involving the position seriously while turning a blind eye when it involves the friends of the president's party.
All right, we'll move on very quickly with our other stories. Very quick analysis. I hope I trust Justin for this next one. FAC disburses 270.17 billion naira to federal government in January. Now that's the Federal Account Allocation Committee. The details of the allocation is in the story from the New Telegraph. But notably, it distributed the sum of 649.9 billion to 3 tiers of government in January 2019. Justin, what's your take on this?
Yes, so I'll be quick. Nigeria celebrates her birthday every month. And during that event, we share the national cake. The states get their slice, the local governments get their slices, and then the FG gets the lion's share of the cake. So this story is just informing us of how this month,
how much cake and how much
was shared, and we've already given us the figure, 649 billion. The federal government took 270 billion, the states got 178 billion, the LGAs got 133 billion, 45 billion was shared among the oil producing states per 13% derivation fund, and it goes on and on about how the party went on and how the cookie crumbled. End of story.
End of story.
So where the cookie goes is really, and then how the cookie is used and how it trickles down to the ordinary man is a question everybody should be asking. We have still another week to make an informed decision on who to vote and task them as to how they implement these funds.
Alright, moving away from that story, we have this one here from This Day newspaper. Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry has expressed concern over reports by many corporate bodies bordering on freezing of their accounts and alleged debiting of such accounts by FIRS. I want to take a statement here, and I'd like you to react to this, Cheta. Now, what they have said is that the activities of agencies of government should be in tandem with the ease of doing business agenda of government and the promotion of the ideals of the economic recovery and growth plan. Does this reflect that statement or that standpoint of the government?
No. And what the LCCI should be going to focus on is not ease of doing business, it's rule of law. Basically,
they mentioned that as well in their statement.
If you have rule of law in this matter, then ease of doing business follows as a natural consequence. And you see, this is one of the big problems. I sit in on a lot of we do political risk. That's what an organization does. So I sit in on a lot of these these kind of investor meetings. And one concern that foreign investors always raise is arbitrariness. As in, we have this thing of being very arbitrary in our behavior. This is a classic example of it. And so what people need to understand is that despite all our hubris, most investors see Nigeria as our market as a potentially big one, but one that is dispensable. So there are certain risk factors that set up red flags for them, and regulatory overreach is one of them. This is a classic example of regulatory overreach. So most investors, especially the portfolio investors, factor that into their risk analysis, and they're always ready to jump out of the country at the drop of a hat. And going by the declining investment numbers over the past 3 years, Nigeria is not really a palatable investment destination. So you consider, for example, the recent report that Ghana, small Ghana, richer Ghana, because Ghana is not even the size of the economy of Lagos, yet they are attracting more FDI than the whole of Nigeria. That's the kind of thing that should set off alarm bells ringing, and this kind of arbitrary behavior needs to be curtailed.
And unfortunately, in cases like this, small businesses are very, are one of the highest casualties when it comes to freezing accounts, people uncertainties in business. Now, where do we apply LIN LIN in all of this? Because it also mentioned that with regards to the FIRS being able to apply LIN for defaulters, tax defaulters.
This is a question that an investor asked that he recent. But if I'm to answer this, I'll put an invoice, and I can't give the whole of the invoice on this.
As a former banker, I would imagine that this puts my former colleagues in a really tight situation, because you owe a duty of fidelity and all of that to your customers. However, I know that there may be legal loopholes, right, which the FIRS and the banks in concert are exploiting to be able to reach into your account and take monies being claimed as taxes. But it can't be a picnic for the banks, honestly, because this has far-reaching effects.
Well, typically that should happen pursuant to a court order, I would imagine.
All right,
Like
now,
I said, there may be loopholes.
now in law, lien is the right to keep possession of property belonging to another person until a debt owed by that person is discharged. So what some
but you
people
apply
have,
to the court.
so what some people have argued is that they can freeze their accounts but cannot actually take the money until, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I'm less concerned about
understand
the
that.
freezing.
I was
I'm more
careful when I
concerned
say
about-
loophole, because I understand that there's a situation where FIRS appointed the banks as an
There's
agent.
actually a way out, but
Right.
All right, we have
invoice
to
matters.
find a way out of this as well. Very shortly, Ikemesit, maybe one sentence on this one. The last headline here: Disco faults federal government's claim of 2,000 megawatts unused power generation capacity from a This Day newspaper.
Yeah, so what the deputy managing director of the Ibadan Disco said at a workshop was that he opens the newspaper, as he looks at, he watches the television news, and he doesn't understand what the Minister of Power, Works and Housing essentially says when he says the problem, one of the problems with power in this country is that we have these 2,000 megawatts that's just sitting out there, but the discos are not able to deploy it. And then he simply says operationally there is always a lag between available capacity and capacity that you can actually deploy. But that gap, that deficit, right, in our power sector is not up to 400 megawatts, so he doesn't know where the 2,000 megawatts is coming from. That's the summary of the story. You can check out the details on this.
Thank you
All right,
so
we have
much.
messages in on Twitter. We have this one from Jokes5050. He says, "Good morning, crew. Buhari's idea of election rigging is antiquated. The rigging is done on result sheets nowadays, and ballot stuffing is on designated polling centers. Nobody snatches ballot boxes anymore," he said. And then Tyra from Yaba says, "FIRS is coming for corporate accounts. If we did not resist, they would come for individual accounts," he said. And then Tunde sent in this one.
Tunde says the states and local governments collectively takes the lion's share. We should hold them more accountable. We're always focused on the federal government alone.
And that is
That's not
true.
true.
If that is true.
States and local governments.
Well, the point that is true that we need to think on is the fact that most of those local governments they take all these allocations.
We need to
without
hold them
necessarily
accountable,
We
yes,
need to
but
hold
they
them
do not
accountable,
take the
yeah.
lion's share today.
52% goes to the federal government alone.
Yes, but then are they held accountable
No,
for
but
the little they get?
let's separate the issues. Accountability is one thing.
Yes.
The fact of who gets a lion's share is a totally
The
different
lion's
thing.
share goes to the federal government. I
Thank
agree.
you.
All right.
Sir,
Are
can
we
I
good now?
please one more thing, please? Today is exactly a year since Leah Sharibu was kidnapped.
Thank you
If
so
we
much
really
for
care as a
outlining that.
country, that's something we should all be talking about.
Very true. Thank you so much. And what a way to end this edition of Fresh Press 981. We're still holding the government to account. Leah Sharibu is still not yet, she hasn't yet returned, and we are looking forward to what the federal government will do. Lagos, this has been Freshly Press 981. Thank you so much, Cheta. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Ikemesit. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:30. Right now, we'll go on a break. When we come back, it'll be time for us to go into the grapevine.